Well, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Kinney Lake in the beautiful Mount Robson Provincial Park. I'm here to hike the Berg Lake Trail, and I am Sarge, and this is Sarge Inc. Well, welcome back to the channel. I am right next to my van, and I got my backpack packed, other than this camera, and we're about to hike the Berg Lake Trail. If we come over here, you can see the big old Mount Robson, the tallest peak of the Canadian Rockies. And yeah, we're gonna go hike. We're not gonna hike it, we're gonna hike around it. We're gonna hike the Berg Lake Trail. I've been wanting to do this trail for a long time, but it has been closed. So the last 2 years I've been able to get up here, hike to Kinney Lake, but now I'm hiking the whole thing. So I think I'm just gonna get to it. I am going to Whitehorn campsite tonight, and then I'm going to the Robson Pass tomorrow night. And the one after that, I'm going to Emperor Falls, but that doesn't really matter. We're hiking Berg Lake Trail to Whitehorn Lake, day one, Berg Lake Trail, Sarge Inc. Let's go.
So the Berg Lake Trail is a 42-kilometer round-trip trail, and it's one of the premier backpacking destinations in all of Canada. And it's been closed for the past 4 years, ever since some extreme flooding took out the trail during the famous 2021 heat dome. That heat dome brought record temperatures all throughout the province of BC and in the surrounding areas. It sparked wildfires, including one that famously burned down the entire town of Lytton. A less thought about side effect of excessive heat is the rapid melting of mountain snow and ice, which is what happened to this trail. As the temperatures rose, so did the water levels, eventually leading to helicopter rescues of the stranded hikers, and the eventual 4-year closure of the Berg Lake Trail.
Well, we are officially at Kinney Lake, which you can see behind me. This is as high as you've been able to walk. Not literally here, but at Kinney Lake. It's the highest you've been able to walk for a couple of years because of the damage that the heat dome did to the trail. But you can actually go further than this, and if you look down here, way over here, there's a shelter, and that's actually the Kinney Lake campsite. So that's where we're gonna head to, and then that's as high as I've ever been is to that campsite. And then we're gonna continue on. I think we're about 6.5K from Whitehorn. We've gone like almost 5K to get to here, and it would be a nice place for a swim, but it is not that hot, and I've only been going for like an hour, so I do not need to swim. So that being said, we're gonna continue on this trail. It goes up and around, and like I said, we're gonna get to over there. Probably take another break, and then we'll be on to Whitehorn. But beautiful spot, beautiful spot.
The section of trail from the parking lot to Kinney Lake Camp was reopened in the summer of 2023, which was right in time for me to hike it on my first big summer van life vacation. It was a great way to tease me into wanting more, and it was in that moment that I decided I was going to hike the entire Berg Lake Trail as soon as it opened. I came back in 2024, hoping to go a little further on the trail, as it was temporarily open to Whitehorn Camp. Unfortunately, when I was there, it was again temporarily closed due to flooding. A setback for sure, but it does bring me back here, finally ready to push on further than I have before.
Well, we just got past Kinney Lake, the campsite, and we are now at a post. It says we're 4K from Whitehorn, which is sweet. I think we're going to gain some elevation from here, but not too much because tomorrow is going to be the bulk of the elevation. That being said, I feel good. I think we'll be there in an hour, hour and a half. Probably more than an hour and a half, maybe even 2. But either way, I still feel good. I think I'm on a quick snack here. I'm not in anywhere good. There's a lot of people on the beach. A lot of people on this trail in general. So I think from here on out, it'll thin out quite a bit. Most people don't push past Kinney Lake unless they're hiking the whole thing. The whole thing probably will be completely booked, but with that being said, hopefully a little less people. Hopefully it'll be even more scenic, and hopefully the weather stays good because it is quite nice. Yeah, it is very nice actually. Anyways, that being said, let's go.
Not long after that signpost, I saw the first obvious sign of the new construction on the trail.
So I'm pretty sure this bridge is all new for this year. And you can see down below, And more importantly, up there, you can see how the water would have been absolutely raging down here when it flooded out. Took off the shore, would have taken up this whole bridge, whatever used to be here. So that's pretty wild, but I believe that's all new, so cool.
Then pretty quickly after that, I found myself at a fork in the road.
Okay, so it looks like we're at the bike drop. There's a lot of bikes dropped. And we're 3.5 kilometers from Whitehorn. But if you look here, it says Kinney Flats route variation. I'm kind of thinking about taking it. I do not know where it goes. Oh, it rejoins the main Berg Lake Trail after 850 meters. I think we should do it. Let's go.
As you saw, I just headed out from the bike drop. You can ride your bike all the way to Kinney Lake and to that bike drop. After that, it's for hikers and horses only. I personally didn't see any horses, but I saw a lot of hikers. The trail to Kinney Lake is very popular with day hikers of all sorts, so getting past that really thins out the herd.
Kind of wild seeing these random boulders all just laying about. I guess they came from there. Just they're kind of out of place.
Since this is one of the most popular hiking destinations in Canada, at no point will you really feel truly alone out here. But at least once you push past Kinney Lake, you'll at least start to feel like you're backpacking. The crowds are thin, the mountain views are epic, and the difficulty of the trail rises. Although with day one being just over 12 kilometers, it never felt that difficult. In fact, as I close in on Whitehorn camp, I can start to understand what all the hype is about.
Well, we are 50 meters from Whitehorn, but I think I'm going out on this bridge as it looks pretty spectacular. Might have to take a selfie and admire the view. That is pretty awesome. Wow. Anyways, let's head to camp, pick up a tent pad, set up, all that jazz. Rest these tired legs. Let's go. Okay, so I've officially gotten to Whitehorn camp, and I think this tent pad is going to be the one I choose. There's people there, there's more over there, but this one seems to be off on its own a little bit more than some of the others. And I know, well, I don't know, I think there's a family coming, so they're probably gonna have a couple together, and I'd rather be aside. As a bonus, this comes with a free pair of sunglasses, and it has a great view of the bathroom, which since we're so close, we might as well do a little tour here. I do also want to note, way less bugs than on the Skyline trail up in Jasper. I had my shirt off and that was like impossible up there. But anyways, here's the bathroom. Way bigger. It's an executive style bathroom compared to the 3 wide crappers on the Skyline, which were kind of funny but also kind of terrible. Look at this. It's got a deck. Then we come in here. It's fancy. You got a window, so you get your Uber Eats while you're pooping. That there, you got instructions. I don't need to show you the pit, but oh, you can put your toilet paper right there. Hang your backpack up. Way nicer than the Skyline Trail. I don't want to talk crap about the Skyline Trail. I enjoyed my time there, even though my calves do still hurt. But yeah, I just want to point out how nice that bathroom is. Anyways, I'm gonna go set up my tent, hang out, you know, all that kind of jazz. Maybe I'm gonna ice my calves in the river. We'll see. Anyways, see you later. Well, I've just been sitting here at the river for like 5 hours probably. Had a nap. I think I had a nap. Almost napped if I didn't nap. Anyways, this place absolutely awesome. Yeah, and just mountains all around me. I have started to think, I don't know if it's think, I have realized that I'm probably gonna have to climb up over one of these mountains to get to the trail tomorrow. I've been looking at my map, and I think we have to climb like 500 meters worth of elevation within like 5K tomorrow, maybe less. So yeah, I think we're going up and over one of these mountains somewhere, and that'll be fun, but that'll be a problem for tomorrow. That being said, I got a beef pasta marinara here that is already cooked. I'm just waiting for it to cool down so I can eat it. And that's pretty much it. That's the end of day one. Berg Lake, the Berg Lake Trail, Whitehorn campground. I really, really like this place. Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow. Well, good morning. It's about 8:45 actually this morning. I've been up for quite a while, but I've been falling in and out of sleep, waiting out the rain. It rained all night, pretty hard actually, to be honest with you, and it slowly has tailed off. That's why I'm still in bed, because it was tailing off. I was waiting for it to end. It has now ended, so I'm gonna pack everything up real quick, get ready. I think I'm gonna go raincoat and shorts this morning to start. I think we got a pretty steep hill to start, and I'm not good with hills, so we're just gonna go. But let's go grab something to eat, pack everything up, and hit the trail ASAP. Let's go.
With the weather clearing up by the minute, day 2 is starting off on the right foot. And to be honest with you, my expectations for today are very high. Obviously, I'm headed to the famous Berg Lake, the namesake of this trail, but I'm also passing some of the other highlights of the trip. Emperor Falls and the Valley of 1,000 Falls, which I'm walking in now. The Valley of 1,000 Falls probably features maybe around 8 falls, but it was still probably the highlight of my trip, and I am going to be sad to see it go. The more time I spend in this valley is more time that's not spent climbing out of this valley. As I did start to notice in camp last night, every wall around me is steep, and eventually I was going to have to climb over one of them.
Well, the trail has all of a sudden gone very steep. As you can see, my glasses are pretty fogged up. But if you look over there, you can see how quickly we've come off the river. It is steep, switchbacks, going up. I don't really know how far it goes, but probably to the top of one of these big old cliffs. So we got our work cut out for us, but it is what it is. I kind of want to ditch my raincoat, but I also kind of just don't care enough to do it. So we're gonna keep going one step at a time, taking little breathers every time we need one, even though we're in a rockfall area. Great, that looks like bear poo.
That was clearly a bad omen, and not a good way to start the hardest section of trail. Luckily I wasn't that far until I found my first spot of respite.
Well, we just got to White Falls, and if you look ahead of me, you can see how high we've climbed in really not that long of a time. I'm very sweaty. My glasses are pretty fogged up, and I feel like we're maybe a third of the way up this steep stuff. I really don't know that for a fact, but I feel like we got a long way to go, and it's steep, so wish me luck. I'll probably just see you at the top. I think we're going to Emperor Falls, so maybe I'll see you there, but whatever. I'm tired. Let's go.
After that brief moment of respite, it was back to my uphill slog. I call it a slog because that's what it was for me. Let's face it, I'm not built for hills, and this hill was no joke. The majority of this trip's elevation was all gained in these 4 kilometers between the Valley of 1,000 Falls and the Emperor Falls campsite. It was still beautiful to hike in, and it probably would be enjoyable if I wasn't 100 pounds overweight and still trying to recover from my failed trip on the Skyline Trail 5 days ago. In hindsight, planning 2 bucket-level backpacking trips just days apart was a bad idea. Who would have thought? Oh well, it definitely could be worse.
Oh. That is sick. You can actually feel the mist. It's quite cold actually. I would get closer, but it's cold. That's unreal.
After my brief stop to admire Emperor Falls, I got back on the trail, where I had thought the climbing was done, but first it got comically steeper, then it finally relented as I neared the campsite, which was great, but then it started to rain and I heard thunder in the distance, so at best, it was an even trade.
Well, I've just got to the Emperor Falls campsite. It's just over there by the river. But I'm currently huddled under a tree on this bench that I found. It is raining. It just started raining hard-ish, pretty hard. Not super hard, but pretty hard. And also I heard a few claps of thunder, and I think I even saw a flash of lightning. So I'm gonna sit here, take a break, hide out under the whatever shelter this tree has given me, and eat a snack, and hopefully this weather passes, because we're about 5K from Berg Lake, and there is a shelter at Berg Lake, which would be nice to have a shelter. But with that being said, I'm actually supposed to go to Robson Pass campground, which is 2 kilometers further, no shelter. So I don't really know what to say other than I'm gonna sit here, have a snack, hopefully things pass. Yeah, that's pretty much my life right now, hiding under a tree. Okay, I do not get the sense that this rain is stopping, so we are just gonna give her. I'm fully kitted up now, and we're 4.5K from the Berg Lake campground. I think most of the elevation is gone, so we're just gonna beeline there. I'm snacked up, I'm rested, so we're just gonna hit her and get to the shelter and then reassess. So let's go.
So at this point, the weather wasn't good. Along with the rain and my fear of thunder reappearing, it was also pretty cold. So I'm cold, wet, alone, as I march my way to Berg Lake. In times like these, you need to remind yourself about why you're doing it. For me, it dates back to 2006. Long before a heat dome, way before the flood damage, the closure, before I even graduated high school. It all started in my grade 12 year when I signed up for an outdoor education class exclusively because the year-end trip was to Mount Robson. It should have been awesome. Sit through a few classes, relearning all the outdoor basic that I learned in Scouts. Make some smoke with a bow drill, and I can coast to 4 credits and a trip to the Berg Lake Trail. But no, they decided to change things up and send us on the west side of the Bowron Lake chain. There's nothing inherently wrong with the west side of the Bowron Lakes, but I had already done the full circuit once at that point, and I planned on doing it again. I just wanted to go to Berg Lake. So to this day, some 19 years later, it feels good to right that wrong and to finally be at Berg Lake.
Okay, so I have made it to the Berg Lake shelter, which is there. And also Berg Lake is here, the glacier. And it's a pretty awesome spot. The shelter seems like there's a lot going on, probably because the weather has been crappy. So I don't really want to go in there and hang out. Yeah, I really don't. And the weather has cleared up. It has stopped raining. And if you look over here, we got blue sky. So I'm optimistic. So I'm kind of thinking I'm just gonna keep going. I got about 2.5 kilometers, I think, to the Robson Pass campsite. So I'll just push on, and then when we get there, we get our tent out, get dry and all that stuff. I think I'm gonna take this raincoat off and just give her, so let's go, Robson Pass.
So even after 19 years of waiting, I kept my stay at Berg Lake brief and then headed towards camp. From here, the weather just kept improving, which rounded out the full roller coaster of emotions that it had put me on today. And it also lured me into a false sense of security. The sun was very welcome, though, and having it come out for the final stretch of hiking of the day really changed the mood, and it helped ease the pain in my tired legs.
Okay, major update here. I am at Robson Pass campground, and I got my sweet little spot here. Pretty epic view over there. This is, you can't beat the view at Berg Lake, but this is a nice little campground. It's a little further away, but you can see all the mountains up in the distance. And if you look over here, you can just see all this like forest area in the valley. It just feels like if I were to see an animal out here, that's where I would see it. But with that being said, I have a private picnic table, ready to have a snack and eat with, which is awesome. I will say, weather when I got here, which was like 15 minutes ago, looked great. I took my shirt off and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be sunny. And now it's a little bit more threatening. If you look over there, these clouds are moving in, clouds up there. Those birds sound threatening too. So we might have to all of a sudden move really quickly, but I got my tent out drying. That's drying. My stuff's out, drying, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, I'm gonna have a snack. I think I'm gonna, mentally, I think I'm hiking out tomorrow. So I'm gonna eat a bunch of stuff. I got an extra freeze-dried meal that I'm gonna eat as a snack or like a lunch today, a late lunch. It's a halfer, so I'm gonna do that. And then, yeah, and then pretty much sit here and see what happens. Hopefully the rain doesn't come. I have not explored this campsite. I don't know if there's a shelter or anything, but hopefully I do not need it. Hopefully I can just sit here and admire this view. Well, there we go. That's a lesson for us. If you don't trust the weather, don't trust the weather. Get everything inside your tent before it starts raining. Because if you think it's gonna rain, it's probably gonna rain. Anyways, now it's raining. I'm probably just gonna sit here in the rain and eat my lunch, but that could have been easily avoided, but everything's dry. It's not that big of a deal. So in dry bags, it's not that big of a deal. Well, this place is pretty beautiful, but if you look over there, I think we got weather moving in. It's starting to drip on me, so I think I'm gonna hide in the tent. It's only like 5 p.m., so I'll be in and out of the tent whenever the rain comes and goes. But for you, that's it. That's the end of tonight. I'll wake up. I'll see you in the morning for day 3. Okay, good morning. It is day 3 here on the Berg Lake Trail. And I kind of think this is going to be my last day. When I was laying in my tent last night at 6, while I was hiding out from the rain, I kind of had the realization that I was done. I did not want to be out here any longer. Although the rain did stop and I was able to get out here and enjoy the mountain views for quite a while, actually. But mentally, I'm still kind of in that position that I'm kind of just done here. Originally, I was scheduled to go back to Emperor Falls campsite, but the problem is, when I got to Emperor Falls campsite on the way in, that's right when the rain hit and the thunder. So in my head, that campsite's tainted. So if I were to go back to Whitehorn or even Kinney Lake, I would hypothetically camp there, but I don't have a reservation there and it's probably gonna be full. So it leads me to just, I'm just getting out of here. That's the plan. As long as everything goes according to plan, I'm gonna get out of here. It's going to be 23K, which is, I think, the longest hike I've ever done in a day. But it's all flat or downhill, so I think that should be all right. It's going to be a long, hard day. Like, no matter what, 23K, it's going to be a long, hard day. But I think it's doable. So with that being said, I'm gonna do it. So like you said, as long as everything goes according to plan, that's kind of the plan.
Well, with a plan like that, what could possibly go wrong? In all seriousness, I was all business today, because I was totally over it. With more rain in the forecast, and the rain I've already had this trip, and the even more rain that I had on my previously mentioned Skyline trail trip, I just couldn't do it any longer. I spent too long hiding in my tent by myself, and if I had to spend another evening in there, I was gonna freak out.
Hey, we just got back to the end of Berg Lake, and I will say, it is a lot nicer looking today. I did not fully appreciate it yesterday when I was kind of in a bad mood and the weather was crap. It is a very beautiful place, but that being said, I've only got like 4K, so I don't have a huge amount of time to linger. We're just gonna keep pressing on, and yeah, keep pressing on.
Along with Berg Lake itself, the better weather allowed me to appreciate this section of trail more on the way home too. It's beautiful, and it's a really interesting place to hike. I'm able to put down a fast pace through here, and at this speed, I feel like I'm going to make quick work of the day. I'm soon at Emperor Falls campsite, which was my original planned campsite for tonight, but rain in the forecast or not, there was no way I was stopping here again.
Well, that is the spot in the trees that I hid under to get out of the rain. Still, we ain't stopping again. I think means we're getting close to the big downhill, which I'm looking forward to. I think it should be awesome. It'll make us really feel like we're getting somewhere. And then, yeah, I was gonna say it won't be long after that we're at Whitehorn, but it's gonna be a long descent, so I'll save that for later.
As I headed down the descent, I really found my groove. And in the spirit of brevity, and also to reflect that groove, we're going to just zoom through this descent. It really was awesome to see the scenery from this angle, instead of just staring at it through fogged up glasses, looking straight up a mountainside on the way up. But soon we were down the descent, and back traveling through the Valley of 1,000 Falls.
Okay, we just got past this bridge which crosses over the river, and we can't be that far from Whitehorn campground. We have gone 11.14K, I believe is what I just looked at, which is pushing close to halfway, but not quite halfway. I kind of want to stop at Whitehorn, and I might, but I kind of am thinking about just pushing on straight to Kinney Lake, and if the sun comes out, I might even swim at Kinney Lake, but that's sort of the plan now. Push on to either Whitehorn or Kinney Lake, but it's smooth sailing from here on out. All the major hills is gone. Yeah, the beautiful valley. We should be walking fairly, whatever. We should be walking alongside the river for the most part. And yeah, enjoy it. Let's go.
To say it would be smooth sailing from here is a huge understatement. Sure, the trail isn't too tough, but this was in fact the farthest hike I've ever completed in a day, surpassing the final day of the Skyline trail, which was my previous longest hike in a day, which didn't even last a full week. I'm beat. After doing those hikes back to back, I can honestly say that I'm physically cooked. I had no business doing what I just did, but I guess that's just another week at the office on my big summer van life adventure. Hopefully I don't have to set another daily record anytime soon, but what I do want to do is take this backpack off and ease the pain on my sore body.
Well, I feel like that's the end of that. I'm here at Kinney Lake, and I got my shirt off, and I'm ready to go for a dip. I'm absolutely beat. Technically, I'm not done this hike. I got another 6K to go. But as far as you are concerned, this trip is over. Berg Lake Trail. It's going to end with a dip in Kinney Lake, and then we're on to the next one. Let's go.